Hi guys. Recently, MTV did a video called 2017 Resolutions for White Guys. It was chock full of the usual SJW racist goodness and garnered so much backlash that MTV took it down. Damage was done though, MTV, because mirrors of your racist tirades have shown up all over the internet. It's amazing, really, how even after being rejected by society in this past election for doing crap like this, you're still spewing your ignorance. So here is my 2017 resolution for unhinged liberal social justice warriors, because you guys definitely need it. Resolution number 1. Accept you lost. Society has rejected you. There were no Russian hackers, and it's apparent after massive voter fraud found in Hillary's favor during Jill Stein's recounts that she did not win the popular vote either. I mean, you don't even represent half the country in this election. Statistics show that only 55% of registered voters actually bothered to vote. So in reality, you barely represent a quarter of this country, and with the aforementioned voter fraud, less than that even. The fact is, both candidates were so terrible. But if Trump were really more terrible than Hillary and your ideals, people would have gotten out to vote for Hillary. They didn't, however, meaning by all rights, 3/4 of society rejected Hillary, the Democratic Party, and you. Resolution number 2. Accept that Black Lives Matter is in opposition of All Lives Matter, and that it is justified the existence of the Blue Lives Matter movement. You see, you need to realize Black Lives Matter is racist. Besides you guys using totally inaccurate statistics to justify your own ignorance and calling for violence against cops, you attempt to shove attention away from victims that aren't black, which marginalizes these other victims of police brutality. Take, for example, 19-year-old Zachary Hammond. He was shot during a traffic stop by a police officer. The Seneca Police Department claims that Hammond was resisting arrest. However, witnesses said that they saw the officer, Lieutenant Mark Tiller, attempting to plant drugs in Hammond's car, and that Hammond tried to stop him and was shot for that. Virtually no media attention was given to this, though. And you know what, before I keep going, let's get back to false statistics. Claim African Americans are the most disproportionately targeted by police is completely untrue. In fact, the ethnic group that has experienced the most police-related deaths disproportionate to their part of the population are Native Americans, like 23-year-old Renee Davis, who was shot in the Muckleshoot Tribal Reservation in Washington State. She was 5 months pregnant at the time. Now, the police are by no means innocent, but by the Black Lives Matter movement's calls of violence and their attacks on cops, they've led to the creation of a Blue Lives Matter movement and justified its existence. It's a valid movement because when cops' lives are endangered by so-called protesters, for the sake of cops who aren't crap, it's time to remind people that cops' lives matter too. Resolution number 3. Accept that America has been great for minorities. Sure, some Americans are bigoted, well, mostly you folks. But America is a land of laws that protects people and ensures equal rights for everybody. Now, you liberals love to bring up slavery all the time, which I find really hilarious. I mean, first off, you act like America invented slavery. In reality, however, the people who started slavery at that time were Portugal. What's more, slavery existed a long time before all of that. And pretty much most civilizations of all varying skin tones owned slaves before the Industrial Revolution. The Egyptians owned slaves, and they were black. And Arab countries have a long history of enslaving countries they've invaded. Slaves have been, of pretty much every skin tone. Romans owned white slaves from Ireland, England, and Greece, and pretty much any territory they occupied as well. The difference between America and these countries, though, is that from the very start, many people in America were talking about banning slavery. This is why the Founding Fathers did not make owning slaves a constitutional right, and there were talks at the time about banning slavery and acknowledging African Americans as human beings. Now, sadly, at the time, they weren't able to do that because people still had their heads in the ass, but they wrote the American Constitution and made it so that later on lawmakers could ban slavery outright when people were able to pull their heads out of their asses. And of course, the other reason I find your claims so funny is that you liberals have always been the wellspring of racism in this country and the biggest advocate of slavery. Democrats started the Confederacy. They voted against the 13th Amendment, which freed slaves, and the 14th Amendment, which guaranteed equal constitutional rights. They created Jim Crow. They voted against the Civil Rights Act. They started HUD and the welfare system to destroy black families. And most recently, they started identity politics to divide people by race and any other thing they can, and enabled the very same police violence they now complain about. Resolution number 4. Stop talking about mansplaining. We know what it is. We all know it's your sexist attempt to belittle the opinions of men, or in situations where you're totally wrong and confronted by facts. It's your attempt to claim facts are sexist. But the funny thing is, lady SJWs, it makes you look sexist and doesn't change the fact that facts do not depend on gender, just objectivity. Resolution number 5. Stop defending ignorant celebrities that you agree with and ostracizing the ones you disagree with because it makes you look transparently racist. I mean, who cares what Beyoncé says? She's a played-out act anyway, just trying to get attention through controversy. But saying white people can have Kanye West like he's property is really goddamn racist. I mean, here's a novel idea. Stop being racist morons this year in 2017 and stop getting your opinions from celebrities. Resolution number 6. Yes, having black friends means you are not racist. By its very definition, being racist would prevent somebody from having a friend of a different ethnicity. And I know this is hard to understand for you Third Reich wannabes, but friends don't agree 100% of the time. At the end of the day, whatever my friends believe and whatever the color of their skin is, it doesn't matter. They're still my friends because we value each other's companionship and the way we enrich each other's lives. Racists are hung up with skin tone too much to be capable of that. Come to think of it, you liberals are also very hung up on skin color. Resolution number 7. Stop trying to label people good or bad based on your standards. Granted, humans are animals, biologically speaking, but we aren't dogs. Your chiding of good whitey is racist and dehumanizing, and it makes you look like real bigoted assholes. And when you say that I'm a good gay because I agree with you, but I'm a bad gay if I don't, it makes you look like a real homophobe. Then again, that is what you guys believe, right? Resolution number 8. Stop saying white privilege. There is no such thing as this imaginary concept of white privilege you made up. In fact, it's just plain racist. Here are some facts. In 50% of police shooting deaths, the victim is Caucasian. And you know, whites, we're not even the top earners in this country. Divided by median household income, the top 3 earning ethnicities are technically Indian Americans from India, Taiwanese Americans, and Filipino Americans. Technically speaking, people like me don't hit the chart until 6th place with European Americans. And more specifically, since I have ancestors that are British and Belgian along with a few other things in there, I don't hit the chart until about 8th or even 25th place. Though even more realistically, I don't even make anywhere near as much as any of those quoted numbers on that chart. So there is no white privilege. Your privilege is based on income, but it's also based on the hard work you put into getting that income. So stop shitting over people who worked hard because of the color of their skin, because I see you do it to black people too. Resolution number 9. Stop claiming Islam as a religion of peace while attacking actual religions of peace. You see, as a gay person, I find this delusion of yours to be dangerous. After all, Arab countries, in those countries, gays are killed by the state. Because the Quran says being gay is a sin. This same religion of peace you love so much claimed jihad against the entire world and vowed to kill people who don't convert. You can't even sell me that line that they aren't all like that, because the ones who aren't killing gays or Christians are not speaking out against it. And meanwhile, while you defend people who are all, by all means, demonstrably intolerant, you attack Christians. Fun fact, the Bible says homosexuality is a sin, but I don't see Christians out there killing 70 gay people in a year. In fact, I've seen more Christians tolerant of my homosexuality than Muslims. And while Muslims in the Middle East are killing people who are different than them, Christians are feeding the poor, even if they are gay, and opening hospitals. They aren't perfect, but you people are the real pieces of shit for attacking them and their religious rights on such a daily, regular basis. In conclusion, my little deluded social justice warriors, get prepared for 2017. Your days of being able to do or say any racist thing you want are over now, because you've been rejected by society, not just here, but overseas. Your voice has been effectively purged from the American government, and that is good because now people can heal. For the last 8 years, you social justice warrior bigots have been allowed to run free, dividing people into your neat little groups based on race and gender and sexuality and income, and then setting them against each other to go and fight your little racist fights that please you so much. But America is sick of it. And after your 5-star performance in 2016, you're never going to get that opportunity again. You're never going to win another election again. The racist Democratic Party is collapsing, and they've lost all their power in the House and Senate. And soon, you people will lose your ability to ignore the Constitution and the Supreme Court with your ultra-liberal justices like Ginsburg. I'm happy, really. Society is one step closer to moving on from a very dark chapter, where people who scream the loudest and ignore reality and say the most bigoted things get their way. We can move on to a period of time where people get along and aren't divided into little groups because you have been just shooed out of society. And by the way, I have a personal message for MTV. Just give up and shut your broadcast channel down. You guys are a disgrace. You used to represent the very essential and edgy counterculture. But now you just pander to the snowflake culture. And there's no longer any room for that in society. Have a good night.